Hello everyone, good evening. Let me know if you hear me and see me fine, friends. Is everybody doing okay? Welcome on this awesome Tuesday. How is everybody doing? Hi Irma, how are you? Irma, if you can just confirm that you can hear me fine, dear. I have been having some challenges lately with my sound, so I want to make sure it's good before we can get started. Hey Steph, how are you? Doris, Brenda, Janine, how are you? Welcome everybody. Today we're going to be working on something cute. We're going to be working on a couple of bugs. So how are you doing? Welcome everyone. My name is Luz Evans. I'm the artistic designer here at Lurid. I really hope that you have a good time today. We're gonna get started working on a couple of pretty designs. It's gonna be a ladybug and an ant. So this is what we're going to be creating today. For those of you that would love to get these patterns, now they are available on my Etsy shop. If you see in the comments, I gave you the link to my shop. That address of that website will take you straight to my Etsy shop. And you can find this pattern there. It's 2 for 1. So the way I listed it there, you're gonna download it and you're getting both pieces, the pieces that you need to create both designs. I really hope that you find them pretty, attractive enough so you can give these designs a try. And I really hope that you can stay here with me so you can learn how you put them together, okay? These two designs, I'm happy to tell you that they are not sewing for those of you that send me messages all the time asking about designs that you can easily make without having to sew any of the pieces. Well, this is it for you, okay? These are a couple of designs that you can easily do and you can complete without having to sew anything by hand, or you're not needing to use your sewing machine, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. So if you can do me the honors, friends, and share my video so other people can come and join us too. So feel free to share it wherever it is that you can without really getting in trouble, because I know that some places can be strict about what you can share and you cannot. So if you are part of crafty groups or whatever groups that you're on, just make sure that if you share there that you are authorized to do so, okay? So you don't get in trouble. So let's go ahead and get started. So as always, I remind you that you're when you get the pattern, you're gonna get a picture of the project. You also get your supply list, and obviously you get the pattern showing you all the pieces that you're going to be needing to create the designs, okay? So any questions before we get started, friends? Anything that you would be interested in knowing or asking me before I get you started with these two cuties? So thank you so much for staying here with me today. New to your channel, thank you Lily for joining me. These are so cute. Purchased the Gingy Smellman yesterday and can't wait to make it. Thank you so much for my cuties. Aw, thank you Lily. Thank you for liking them enough to wanna do business with me. So thank you so very much. Guys, do me the honors. Please remember to share. You're really the only ones that can help me get my name out there, because Facebook tends to be, I'm not sure why, but I'm not getting enough exposure. So I just rely on you, my audience, to be able to get me out there, okay, to be seen. So thank you so much. So let's go ahead and get started, friends. I'm gonna show you how these two cuties are put together, okay? So as you are seeing here, friends, we're gonna get started with the watermelon, okay? Now, your supply list, it's calling for either a piece of cardboard or a piece of foam board, okay? Either one would be okay for this project. Now, the only thing is, in my case, I'm using foam board. I get it from Dollar Tree. That is the most affordable place where I find it, okay? Now, if you happen to have cardboard, like a cardboard box, you can obviously use that. The only thing you gotta make sure of is that the cardboard is not bending, because if it is, then what you want to do is you want to double your piece, okay? So after you choose what you're going to be using, you're gonna trace your pattern on the piece of cardboard or foam board, and you are gonna cut it with a cutter, X-Acto knife, some kind of blade, some kind of cutter, whatever it is that you have on hand, okay? So here is my slice of watermelon, and what I'm gonna use here, I'm gonna use some batting, okay? Now, whatever we're gonna be doing with this design, guys, you're gonna repeat it for the second design, okay? Same process, just different character, okay? So I'm using a piece of sewing batting, okay, some stuffing. You can also use stuffing like regular polyfill. But in this case, I want it flatter. I don't want to add too much volume because I have an overlay. Now on the overlay, which is the trim of the watermelon, we will be using some polyfill. But on this one, since it's the base, I'm going to be using just some batting material, okay? So you're gonna get your hot glue and you're gonna do a light coat of your hot glue, and then we're gonna place this on top. And as you see, my batting is uneven. I don't care because I'm gonna cut the excess, okay? We're going to be cutting the excess. So if you don't trace it like me, like I did not trace this material, I just glue it and then I cut it once it's on. Now this part right here, which would be considered the bite look of this watermelon, I'm gonna leave some of the material like so, even though I'm gonna be cutting through it, okay, but not just yet. So now that I have done this, you're also going to be needing a piece for the back. That piece is what is gonna cover the back of our watermelon, and it must be about the same size of the slice, okay? Same size. Now you're gonna need another piece that needs to be a little bit bigger. Why? Because it's gotta be large enough to wrap this with it, okay? So that's why you can either trace one, but give it at least ½ inch bigger in size, okay? Now, what I do with mine is I normally just cut me like a rectangle piece or circle, whichever shape is my piece, okay? And then I just cut the excess once I glue the pieces to the back, okay? So I am going to start here. Normally what I also do, once I have done this, I'm gonna cut the corners. I'm gonna cut this a little bit more. Okay. And now these corners, I'm gonna make a little cut, kind of like a V shape on both ends, like so. And then on the rest, I'm gonna do like some slits. Now make sure that if you're cutting the slits on here, don't cut it all the way to the base, because if you do it all the way here to where the foam is, when you are trying to glue it to the back of this piece, you're gonna be able to see these parts. So you're cutting slits, but look, just a little bit, enough to allow you to turn the fabric, okay? So you definitely do not wanna cut these parts of your fabric all the way to the line, okay? Just a little bit. All right, so now I'm gonna start cutting, gluing here on top. I'm gonna start on this side, okay? And then I'm gonna worry about this towards the end, or I could also do it first. You can do it first or last, does not really matter. okay? We'll get to it. So here, this part here, I'm gonna bring that like so. I'm gonna do a little bit of more glue here. You are wanting to glue this very nicely, okay? Very firmly. Make sure that you add pressure to your fabric when it's touching this foam. So we make sure that this is nicely glued and that won't be coming apart. Make sure that your glue is also hot enough, okay? You definitely want to do that, because if your glue is not hot enough, and then again, your fabric may not glue very well to the material, okay, to your back. So just make sure that you are doing a good coverage on that, okay? Be careful also to not burn your fingers. So how is everyone doing, guys? If you are making comments, please forgive me. My comments are not feeding, so I gotta get out and then come back. Hello, thank you, Brenda. Thank you for sprinkling. Thank you so very much. I know, right, Joanne? That's what I say. No, I know that they don't, guys. I don't know why. My exposure is non-existent. I know that because I see my numbers, and it's like I have like thousands of followers, and it only shows like less than 1,000. How could that be? I don't know, but it's okay. I'm glad that you're here. So that's what matters. So the thing that you can do for me without really having to buy anything from me is just sharing my video. That is wonderful, guys. If you can at least do that for me, that is awesome. Thank you so much. I will thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so now look at how I'm cutting, because I gotta turn this fabric here, guys, and I have like this section that is uneven, right? I gotta make sure that I'm cutting my fabric and I am kind of fitting it to these little curves here, okay? So to do that, I gotta make sure that I am like, see what I did? I split them, and so that way I have the flexibility to pull them where I need to, okay? So see, this way, like that. And so the whole idea, guys, you cutting things like this is so you can have a nice look from the front, okay? Because we definitely do not want wrinkles. We don't want to see wrinkles for the front. And sometimes when we are following this technique, it's kind of hard to make it look even if you're not making those cuts, okay? So try to do those cuts. Take a look at your front and make sure that this part here looks nice and that you don't have wrinkles around it, or that the fabric is pulling or anything like that, okay? So see how this looks nice? That's how we want it. Now don't worry about this part, because we're gonna, remember, we're gonna cover it. So the back will not be seen, okay? So now that we have done that, let's go ahead and talk about the head. You see how we did? We wrapped this up. Oh, let me go ahead and cut the excess of fabric, because I don't want to keep that excess there because it's bulky, right? You can either glue it or you can cut it. I normally prefer to cut it. That's normally how I do mine. I cut the excess of the fabric. Okay. So now, the way we wrap this up, guys, with our fabric, you're going to follow the same process with the head piece, or the face piece in this case, okay? So I did it the same way. I used batting also, like I did on the watermelon, but I use this polyester beige color fabric, okay? You can also use beige felt if you have it. I did not find that color on felt, so that's why I ended up using this polyester fabric, okay? I glued it just like we did with here on the back, and I cut the excess too. I also cut an extra piece. Notice that I'm not gonna use the beige because I would rather keep that beige fabric for fronts, not backs. So what I did, I used my red fabric, and I will cover the back of the face with that, okay? The only thing you always, when you add your backs, make sure that you cannot see the fabric through the front or from the front. If you see it, then cut it, trim it off, okay? All right, so let's go ahead now that we have the this part of the watermelon. Let's go ahead and talk about the overlay. This will go on top of this like that, okay? Now, you're gonna cut your pieces on fabric, green felt, and I'm gonna start stuffing this, okay? We want to stuff it with some polyfill, all right? So I'm gonna start gluing it first before I do any stuffing. Make sure, again, you want to, if you are using hot glue, make sure that your hot glue is very hot, okay? Now, if you are using fabric glue, well then obviously you gotta apply your glue and gotta give time for that to be completely dry, right, before you start stuffing. That's normally what we would like to do. Even in the case of the hot glue, you also want to allow for that to cool to make sure that your pieces are well glued, okay? So make sure also that you are applying your glue to the closest to the line that you can. The closest you can to the line, okay? If for some reason you apply too much glue, friends, and as you are applying pressure to the fabric, your glue squeezes out of the fabric, that's okay. Do not touch it. Just leave it alone. Wait for that to cool, okay? And then you come back with your scissors and cut it off, okay? So look, now I have this part open, right? So I have glued part of here, went all the way in this part. So I still gotta glue all this. So I'm gonna, as I'm starting to glue that outer part of the piece, I'm gonna start adding my polyfill, okay? Now, I gotta tell you, when you stuff these things, guys, you gotta make sure that the stuffing that you're doing on these pieces, it's light. We're looking for a light stuffing, okay? We're not wanting to make it so thick that you have trouble gluing it, okay? So if you are having trouble gluing this, then you will know that you are adding just way too much stuffing, okay? So just be careful with that. Keep that in mind before or as you are adding your polyfill, okay? We definitely do not want to add a lot more than what we need to, okay? And notice that I'm adding it as I am gluing, okay? So I add it, I push it in, so it's not in the way of where I'm gluing, okay? And then I add my glue, and then I bring this other side down so it can touch those two pieces of fabric, come in contact, and then they can glue together. Thank you, Deborah, for sharing. I appreciate you doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of glue here, and then I'll add my polyfill on this one. Since it's getting, you know, this curve here can be tricky sometimes. So normally what I do when I'm getting to the curves, I kind of like glue it first, and then little by little, I just stuff my polyfill in there. Okay, like so. Just be careful, okay, friends? Remember, we're not looking for a whole lot of filling on this. Thank you so much, guys. Do me the honors, please, if you can, if you don't mind. Sprinkle my video. All right, so here I am almost at the end of this side right here. Finishing stuffing my polyfill. See how I just get a little polyfill? I don't, like, literally, it's not a lot what I'm adding. So I'm just looking for a look that looks stuffed, that is not flat, okay? All right, so right here, that would be my last addition of glue. Make sure to squeeze that in there so my polyfill is not getting in the way. All right. Okay. So look, now I have my piece, okay? I have my piece already complete. Okay? And so now this part, guys, is going to be glued to this section here. Like so. Okay? So we're going to glue this section on here. Now, if I look at it from the back, notice how, you know, I'm not, in other words, I'm not gluing this all the way like that, because if I do, look at where my tops are, okay? I'm not looking for that. See, I'm not aligning them together just like that, No, that needs to be, these two must be matched with these, like so. And so therefore, you're going to see some of that on this side. If you turn it, if you see it from the back, you're going to get to see some of the green. We want it like that, okay? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my glue to the very edge of the watermelon base. And then I'm going to place my watermelon like so. Okay, and I'm going to apply pressure, and that's going to be it. Now, that's one. Let me do the other one that I already have here made. Same thing with this one. Apply pressure. Oh, thank you, Penny. Foam board instead of the green cherry. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. You can also use, you can use the fabric. You can use the foam. You can also use the, the foam board. Yes, you can. Or you can also use foam sheets. If you would rather do this with a foam sheet, you can do that too, okay? So either way. Okay, guys, so now I have my watermelons, okay? You can now add the seeds if you want to, okay? So we're going to add 3 seeds. You can start with the center one, and then you just kind of like place the other ones. If you like your placement, okay, then you proceed to glue those pieces, okay? You can add them in any way, shape, or form you like. Okay? I normally like to play around to see if what I like or whatever. If you like it more towards the top part, you can do that too, okay? So just play around with them. Find a placement that you are happy with. And once you are happy, well, then just glue them, okay? Hot glue. Just some hot glue. Make sure that I'm centering this, okay? These projects are super, super easy, but they are so cute at the same time. They have so much cuteness, don't they, guys? They just kind of like melt your heart when you see them. Anyway, that's what they did for me. I love seeing these little creatures with happy faces. It's just amazing to me. Just cute stuff. Cuteness overload. Okay. All right. So see, now we added our seeds, right? Okay. So now let's work on faces, friends. Okay. So I have my ladybug face. I'm gonna need some, I have an overlay for this head, okay? And it's gonna be this piece right here. So I'm gonna glue this piece to this face, or this head I should call it. And we want it to be aligned with the head. So in other words, we don't want it higher, we don't need it lower, it needs to go in line with it, okay? So what I normally do is I add the glue to the lower parts first, like so. And then I go back, once it's on, I go back and add the rest of the glue to the top part, okay? Now I make sure that I'm paying attention on this, because if not, I'm gonna put it all crooked. Like that, and this is gonna go here, like so, okay? Make sure that that is high enough, okay? Like so. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add my glue here to the top part, okay? This, I'm gonna make sure that I covered it all the way to the top, like so. This part right here, I just need a little bit of glue in there, so it's not like lifted. I can see the glitter, okay? And so look at that. So now I have my face. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of color, okay? First, before I start gluing eyes and nose and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get my blush, and I'm gonna add some color to this face. I like rosy cheeks. So what do you think? Are you liking it? It's starting to come to life, guys. You're going to start seeing it here shortly. Once you start adding your color and then your eyes and then start adding the little touches here and there, you're going to start to see more beautiful, a more prettier look. Now, what you call it? The amount of makeup, guys, it's up to you. You know, if you like it a little bit stronger on the color, or if you like it light, you know, that would be up to you. I don't think that there's right or wrong. It's just a matter of personal preference. Okay, so look, now I added color. Now I'm gonna bring my eyes, okay? Oh, thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much. So look, my eyes. Now, by the way, the eyes, you find them also on Etsy, okay? I have a tutorial for eyes, and I have individual eye templates, okay? So on your supply list, I give you the link to this. All right, so there you have it. That's more or less where my eyes are gonna go. So I'm gonna add glue. I may actually do it a little bit lower because I want to add some eyelashes there. I want to paint some eyelashes. Okay, so I just added hot glue, and I'm trying to be very careful with this because it's hot, remember? So let me see. I'm gonna add it, but I need to make sure that this is low enough and giving me enough room for some eyelashes in there. Okay, so there you go. Now I'm going to apply pressure on it. Look at how cute. Isn't it cute? Look at how adorable, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to get a permanent marker with fine point, okay? Fine point. And now I'm just going to add slowly. I'm going to go through the line with it, okay? Through the line of the eye. And I'm going to start adding it, giving it some lines here, pretending that they are my eyelashes here to the side of the eye. And I'll do 3 to 4 of them, okay? See, I'm not sure if you can see them because it's a light marker. It's not very dark, okay? It's light. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll do another one here, 4. I'm sure if you can see them. I might have a lot of light here. So now here I'm gonna do 2, okay, on the upper part, and here the same way, 2. Okay, it almost looks like she has some some spiders coming out of her eyes. It's so cute. All right. So look, something like that. Can you see it? They're light in color. You can also do it with acrylic paint, but we're going to be using acrylic paint for highlights more than anything. So now we're going to need a cute little nose, okay? And this nose is going to go here, like very close to her eyes, and then we'll do a smile too, okay? So we'll do that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this. And I'm just gonna glue this right here. Like so. And then what I'm also gonna do is I'm going to do a mouth. And for a mouth, guys, you can either mark it with some, I have used some like thread in the past. You would just lay your thread, right? And once you get it to the placement that you like, well, then you would just use a marker and you would draw it, and then you go over it with a permanent marker like we're gonna do in this case, okay? So, or what I can also do, I have recently been using like some, what would I call them? Some templates, I guess that's what the word is, okay? Some templates like this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give this a mouth, okay? And I'm gonna just make sure that it's centered, okay? And then I'm gonna get with my fine point marker, I'm just gonna trace it. You can also, I have used also like round things, like lids or things like that. They work very nicely. Do you see that? Okay, so now that I have kind of like marked my smile, guys, I'm just gonna go with my fabric marker, okay? And I'm going to go over it with it. So let me go ahead and make sure that this has enough ink in here. Push it a couple of times, and then I'm gonna go on this line that I just traced. I'm gonna go over it with this pen, or marker I should call it. Okay, like so. And then I'm gonna do it once again. I did it from here to there, and I'm gonna do it the opposite way. Just so that way I have a better coverage. Brighter color too, since it would be like 2 coats, right? Like so. You see that? Okay. Now here, I like to embellish smiles normally, And what I like to do is I like to add little rhinestones, like acrylic rhinestones. Like in this case, I'm gonna use hearts. You can also use buttons too. Or you can make your own out of clay. I've done all of it. And every single one of them works good, very well actually. Any of them. They work well. No matter which one you pick, they all work good. Okay? All right. So look, okay, so now we have our head. Now, I'm going to have also some antennas that I probably want to add now. Okay? You're going to need either some wire, okay? In my case, I have used baling wire. This happens to be garden wire. It's thick, but it's very bendable and very soft. But it's strong enough to stay, you know, to keep its shape, okay? I buy this like at my local 99-cent store, okay? And you're gonna need 2 mini pom-poms, okay? You decide how long you want this wire. In my case, this is this is about 15 inches long, and then I bend it, okay, like this. But the length is 17 inches. 17 or 15 did I say? What did I say, guys? Yeah, 15. About 7, yeah, about 15 inches. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is right here, I'm gonna glue my pom-poms. Okay. So you just add your mini pom-poms here. So that's one. And then this is my other one. Now you can also, guys, if you wish, you can leave these as they are, right? Might be, even though maybe too long, right? You can bend them or do whatever. But the reason I gave them a little extra length is because if you want, you can curl them, okay? So you get something run. In this case, look, I'm just getting one of my glue sticks. And right here, all I'm gonna do, actually I can start from here. I can take this and I just wrap it around this, like so, okay? And then I remove it and I'm gonna end up with some curl. You see this? Okay? I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. So just wrap it around your stick, whatever it is. You can use a dowel too, if you wish. You remove it, okay? And then you're gonna end up with something like so. Okay? So you can do it all the way too. If you want more curls, well then you just do it more closer to the base. So now that I have that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and glue that to my back, okay? So what I normally do is I glue it to the center. Normally like to place it here to see exactly where it's gonna go, okay? Place it on the head and see if you're happy with the way it looks, which I am. And now I am gonna squeeze my glue on it. And I normally like to use a little piece of fabric because that helps me anchor this and keep it safe here on the back. Now keep in mind you're also gonna have a cover, okay? But for now, to make it easier on me and not having to be holding it here, I just use a little piece of fabric and that will help me hold it while I'm working on other things, okay? It's faster too, okay? All right. So now I'm gonna get my watermelon, and this girl, I'm gonna go ahead and glue that face here, okay? That's how it's gonna go. So she's gonna be glued right on the part of that bite, like so. Okay? So what I normally do, I don't add it to the face, I add it to the watermelon, the glue, okay? Because I don't want to maybe, if I add the glue to the face, I might miss the right spot or the right level, and then all of a sudden I have glue seen on their face. So instead, I add it to the watermelon first, okay? So that will help me keep it where it needs to go, and then I can always add more glue if I need to, okay? You can also add some, tilt the head if you want to. You can make it more fun, okay? Whichever way you want, okay? Just make sure that you are having a good grab of that face, because that's how it's supporting each other, okay? All right. So while this dries, let's work on the little arms, okay, and the feet. So the feet, you're gonna need obviously two, right? And we're gonna need two hands, okay? So these are gonna be our feet. Just make sure that you place them also. You can place them like something like that. You want to make it, give it a more fun look or whatever, okay? One higher than the other one. But in my case, I'm just going to make them even, okay? They're going to go in the center and they're going to go like that. So I'm going to add my glue here. Don't add too much glue because these are light pieces. You don't need a whole bunch of them, okay? Just make sure that they are centered. In my case, I want them centered. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to put him here, like so, okay? Now, my hands for the ladybug, I would like to add a little bit of something to them because they're a lighter color, okay? So I'm going to give him a little bit of color here. And I normally like to use colors like yellow and brown. Okay, and so what we are going to do, the placements of these is going to go like that. So it's going to create an illusion of her grabbing her little arms, right, around the watermelon, as if she's holding the entire slice of the watermelon, right? So I'm going to get a little bit of my yellow marker. I'm going to add some color right here on the edges. Now on the ant, we don't have to do that because it's all black glittered foam, so we don't have to detail that. But we will add some touches of white once we finish the design. Now another thing you can, guys, you can do just that, okay? Or I normally like to smudge that color a little bit. And I got me one of these little sponges, okay, to dab this, like a dabber. And I just go over it, and that kind of like diffuses the color a little bit, and it gives it nice color, but it's not as sharp as if you just leave it like that, okay? I mean, if you, like I said, you can always leave it the way it was, but if you do this, you add a little bit more. So see that? Okay, so we're gonna do that to both little hands. Later, we're going to keep on making more designs using foam, friends. Because there's so much to do with foam as well. It's like a whole different world, too. So little by little, I keep on introducing the use of foam sheets. You can create so many wonderful things. There's a whole world of arts and crafts with foam. It's just amazing. Okay, so I'll slowly introduce you to that. All right, so look, here we go now, okay? So this is gonna go here, and this is gonna go there. Okay, so all we're gonna do here is we're gonna glue them, okay? We're just gonna glue them here. And you can also add your glue if you wish to the watermelon instead of the arm. So that way you also do not miss where the actual arm should be actually going. Like so. Isn't that cute? Look at how beautiful, okay? This is just adorable, friends. This is just adorable. It's just so much cuteness, so much personality. Okay, so now let's go ahead and cover the back. Okay, now we would be ready at this point. We would be ready to cover our backs. So what we do is, I'm gonna get this one here, and we're gonna add this cover. Okay, now guys, if you are using this as an attachment for a wreath, okay, now is the time to add your handles. Okay, so you can either use twine, you can use pipe cleaners, you can use wire, you can use whatever it is that you're going to be using. Okay, you would normally apply it now, but you can also do it after. Okay, so if you apply it now, let's say that you get a pipe cleaner. Okay, I'm just going to show you here. Let's say that you have a normal size pipe cleaner. You would glue it first. Okay, and on your fabric you're going to do a couple of slits so you can feed these through the fabric, and then you will glue the whole thing like that. Your pipe cleaners will be sticking out, coming out of the fabric. Okay, now let's say that you forget. Okay, well, you can still do it afterwards. Okay, so what you would do, let's assume that this is already glued. Okay, so you would bring your pipe cleaner, whatever it is that you're using, you're gonna glue it. Okay, and then you're gonna cover this with a piece of fabric in the center. So let's say that I would have this piece of fabric here. I would put my pipe cleaner, I would add my glue, and then I would put this on top of it. Okay, so that way you have your ties there that you can use when you are attaching it to wreaths or whatever. You can also add them wherever you need them. If you want them on each side, if you want just the center, if you want top and bottom. I mean, you decide where you want it. Okay, but you can definitely, like I said, you can do it before or after, does not matter. Okay, just get it in there if you know that you are going to be using this as a wreath attachment. Okay, now one of the things also that you need to keep in mind is that you gotta make sure that as you are gluing, you're always gluing the centers, because that's typically where the pressure will be coming from if you are doing your ties from there. Okay, don't forget the center. Always glue the center. All right. Okay, so that's that. Then I gotta cover this bag, right? Because that cannot be seen like that, right? We talked about that earlier. I'm gonna cut this a little bit because I think that this, I can see some up here that can be showing. So I'm gonna cut it just a little bit more, because I don't want to see any of this red fabric on the front. When I'm looking at it from the front, I don't want to see any of this red fabric. All right, so now I'm ready for my, I can do it actually this way, yeah. So I'm gonna add now my fabric here. Make sure that this is also glued. So it's important to cover our backs. I think that it's important to cover mechanics of our creations, whether it's anything, a design like this or a floral or whatever. Okay, so that's what our back would look like, and that's what our front would look like. Okay, so now this girl here is ready just to be detailed. Okay, and we will once we finish our end, so that way we detail both at the same time. Okay, so what do you think? Isn't that adorable? Look at that. Oh, so cute. You can also add, if you wish, to add like a little bow in there. You can do that too, okay? So now let's get to the ant. Oh, I forgot. One thing we have to do is the addition of the wings. I almost forgot about that. Okay, so wings. You'll get both wings, right? So you can add them on here, like so, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just add hot glue to this ant. And I'm gonna glue him to the back. Then the next one. Yeah, I forgot. Oh, I added to the wrong side. It's to the front. Okay, let me quickly remove this. Let me do a pick. I'm always gluing the, remember, in the back, and this one I do it to the front, not the back. Okay, good deal. Okay, so the front. Okay, so this will go here. Make sure, watch that both are about the same height, right? Looking about the same level at your pressure. Okay, so there's your wings. And now look, with the wings we need those spots, right? So what I had done before, guys, is I had used my hole puncher, okay? And you do it, you punch your little dots on your black foam, okay? And then you can use that on the wings, okay? So you can add as many as you want. But I said, you know what? I would like to have a little bit something bigger because they are small. So then I have another puncher here, okay? And so I said, I'm gonna get some with that. And I like this better. I think they're prettier and you can see them more substantial. And look at how cute they look. Aren't they adorable? So I just did 3 instead of doing so many for the other ones, you know. I said 3 would be okay. And I did this. Actually, that needs to go there, right? It needs to go here, like so, okay? Now, you could also, if you wanted, you could do a 4th one, let's say closer, but I don't really think that that's needed. Do you think? I think those 3 is fine. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna glue them, okay? Hot glue. You can also use crazy glue, which we're gonna learn to use that when we work on other foam projects. I'll show you why that's important, okay? On more detailed foam designs, you can do instant glue nicer. It does a better job than the hot glue. Okay? All right. So now look at this girl. Oh, she is ready to keep eating that watermelon, huh? She's all happy and smiling, and she knows she's bad. Anyway, she loves that sugar. Okay. Now let's move on to the ant, okay? Let's talk about the ant. Okay, ant. We have same process, right? We still need the watermelon. We already have the head that I have already covered, okay? I also use the batting on it. Now, this is so easy, guys, because look, all you're gonna need, this is the eye overlay, okay? Right there. Now, in the future, I'm gonna show you an option also. You can just glue this. We're actually gonna glue this to this head. However, in the future, if you want to apply heat to this piece, you totally can, okay? We're gonna go over that so you can see. And then on another project, I'm gonna show you how you apply heat to this so you can create a little bit of dimension to it, okay? But for now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just glue this piece we're gonna glue it to this head. That's where it's gonna go. And now we are gonna glue it to, oh, actually I need to do eyes, right? Let's do the eyes before we actually glue it. For the eyes, you're gonna need either a black marker or you can use acrylic paint, okay? Either, or you can do both, okay? So all we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 ovals, okay? 2 ovals on this face. So that way you would, we would start creating the eyes first. A black permanent marker is perfectly okay. Okay, now if you want it a little bit darker, well then you can do acrylic paint, okay? So either is fine. Just make sure that with your eyes, keep that piece right there, keep it as your center, okay? So that way you know where your other eye should be going. And also guys, keep in mind that, you know, if you make it too small, that's fine. You can increase it little by little, okay? You don't have to make it all the same size at the time, you know, at the same time. You can increase it as you are painting it, okay? If you wish to do it that way. Now let me show you another way, okay? So let's say that if you just want to keep it like this, like I said, it's perfectly okay, all right? But let's say that you would like to also, let's say that you would want to also maybe use a little bit of acrylic paint on this, okay? Or you don't want the marker, you would rather use the acrylic paint instead. Well, you can do that too. So I'm gonna show you here what you can do, okay? So you're gonna get your black acrylic paint and you're gonna need like a stylus, okay? So it's gonna be round. It's easier if it's round, okay? Because you're gonna load a little bit of acrylic paint on it, okay? And then you're just gonna go on this and you're gonna do in circles, and you're gonna be literally gonna be painting this eye just by going in circles here, okay? So I'm not sure if you can see it, but I can. You're gonna start painting, assuming that there was no marker there. By now you're gonna be seeing the same thing that we did with the marker. You're gonna see it with your stylus, okay? This is very easy to do. It really does not require much, you know, effort to do, and you can come up with something really cute too, okay? So either way is perfectly okay, friends, all right? So now I think that I did the same thing that I did with the Ladybug. I gave it a little bit of some eyelashes in there, okay? So I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna give this eye some eyelashes. You can do 3 or you can do 4, you can do as many, okay? Sure, can you see some? I have a lot of light here. So anyway, so you do the same. Okay? Actually, this needs to be, need to get a little longer on this end. I need to match the length of this other side. Okay, something like that. Now I'm gonna make some coming this other way. I'm just gonna do 2 or 3 on this side, like that. Okay, something like this. Now I am going to be adding some special touches to these eyes. I want them to have a white or some kind of light on them. This one, let me make sure that. So, yeah. I want a little bit of light on these eyes, okay? Being that they're just dark, I want to give them a little bit something. So I'm going to use my white acrylic paint, okay? And again, I'm going to be using a stylus again. Or you can also use, if you don't have a stylus, you can use the back of a brush as well. You can do that too, okay? So the back of a brush, you can also do it, okay? So let's say that I only have this brush, okay? I'm going to come here and I'm going to do one dot. And again, you can go in circles, okay, to make it a little bit bigger if you wish, okay? The same thing on here, like so. Like that. You see that? Okay. So then, if you wish, you can also do another smaller dot. A little bit less paint and not much pressure, okay? Next to it. Like so. Okay? And so that way now we give it a little bit of light in there and it's not looking as dark, okay? And that's really all we're gonna do with those eyes. Those eyes, there's not much to them, okay? The ant's face is very, very simple, okay? Now, we're gonna add a smile, but we're gonna do it once this face is glued because we gotta know exactly where the mouth is gonna go. So I'm gonna add my my glue here, okay? And this, I'm gonna add it right here. Let's glue these, our feet. There. Yeah. I'm gonna go there. My hands are gonna go here. See, remember, we're not doing much to these hands. Like that. Just gonna go there. Okay, now the smile. Out of this white foam too, you're gonna cut a very, very thin piece of foam, a very, very thin strip. Let me do it this way, that way I see it. Okay, so you don't need something very big, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some glue to it. But I normally like to use, on this one, I like to use my instant glue because it's so thin, guys, that if I use regular hot glue, I'm gonna burn myself, okay? So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna use some of the super glue, okay? And I'm gonna add it to this smile. And that way, if I touch it, I don't burn myself at least. It'll stick to my finger, but I won't burn myself. Okay, so you add it and then you shape it to where you want it, right? And look at how nice it stays, like right away. Now you can also, if you want it on this side, you could totally do that too. If you want it longer, like more wide, you can do that. But simple is cute. You don't really need it to be too long. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that cute? Okay, now the process of the antennas is the same as the other one. Look, I already have them here. Okay, so I don't want to turn it around because that white that I did is still very fresh, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this back here. Make sure that I don't touch those eyes. So it's going to go in the center there. And then I'm going to do my fabric here. Like so. Make sure that that's straight. Now I apply pressure. Okay. So look at that. Oh, she's adorbs. Okay. So there you have it. Okay. And now we would cover this the same way we did the ladybug. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm not going to turn it around right now because I have that black, white paint and I don't want to miss my eyes. But just assume that you will be covering that back, okay? Now, let's go ahead and detail these, okay? We're going to add just a little bit of white paint, okay? So I'm going to bring my little brush that I have here somewhere. Where is my brush? Right here. I'll use this one. So I'm gonna do some white dots, right? On these watermelons, we want to add a little bit something because they're simple. So we need to embellish a little bit, okay? So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna add 3 white dots here. Like so. You can also do them on that side if you want. And I'm going to come on here on the seats. I'm going to get them a little bit of light also. Remember, give them something, okay? Give this something. I'm going to tell you the beauty, friends, is on the small details that you give it, okay? So this one, same, but I'll do it on this other end. Now, if you want to do it on both sides, then do it on both sides. There's nothing wrong with it. So I can do this here. Like so, right? You can also do dot here and dot there if you wish, okay? So that would be like up to you, okay? You can do all sorts of different things. Now, I'm going to come here. Now, I'm going to do my brush, okay? And with my brush, I'm going to add a line here on my feet. Like that. Do not stress over these lines, guys. They're not supposed to be perfect, okay? So don't try to make it all exactly the same size, exactly the same direction. Just have fun. Don't stress over it, okay? It's okay. You'll be fine, okay? Now on this one, on that little girl, I'm going to do a little line here on the nose. There, okay? And then I'm going to also give it some freckles, okay? So I'm going to do on both sides just 3 freckles. You can do white or you can do brown, okay? Whichever you like. Now let me see this one because I want it to be about same on these. Okay, not too far off from each other. Like so. Like that. You see? Oh, now you could do the same with a little, with the ant. If you want to add something to the ant, guys, you totally can. Just be playful. See, something like that? You can maybe add, I don't know, maybe like 3 dots like that. Instead of being any triangle, you just line them up. See something cute like that? You just give it whatever you think would look cute. Now on this, if you want it, on this one, if you want to make them different, just maybe you can add one here, one there, and one here. Okay, you can also do it on this if you wish, on the green part of the watermelon. You can do that too. Okay, so just add your special touch to whatever you want. Okay, play around with it, see what you like, what kind of difference it makes on the final look of your design. But I promise you, you're gonna like it. It's gonna look good. Okay, and so in there you have it. Now you could also, if you wanted to add color to the outline of this eye piece for the ant, you totally can do that too. If you want to add a little bit of color around the eyes, maybe a brown or something, you totally can too. Okay, so the sky is the limit on the different things that you can do with these. Okay, but this is how they turned out. Okay, so what do you think? What do you think of these cute little creatures? Tell me. You like them? Aren't they adorable? Look at this. They're both just hanging out, sitting around, eating their watermelon. Oh, Lindy. It's okay. I'm glad that you were able to make it, though. That's good. Glad to have you back. Ain't it cute? It's adorable, huh? Okay, so now let me show you in the front. Now you could also make like a little sign to go with them somewhere. See these? Anyway, friends, so thank you so much. So I really hope that you enjoyed this cute tutorial. So remember, patterns are available on the link that I gave you here. If you look in comments, you will be able to see the link to my Etsy shop. That's where you're gonna find these patterns there. Okay, so if you like them enough to go grab that pattern, then go do it. It's now available, ready to go. So you can start creating these cute little bugs. They're just adorable, friends. So thank you so very much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing my video. And I really hope that you can give this a try, okay? So until then, the next one, friends, any questions? I'm going to be releasing a tutorial soon for the dog. You know, the dog that I posted about. I'm gonna do a quick tutorial on that soon. So I'm gonna post the information hopefully by tomorrow, maybe, hopefully. But I'll get you all that info. So for those of you that might be interested in making that little beautiful design too, there were many people that love that thing. So, you know, just stay tuned for the information. It's coming your way. All right. Okay, friends. Well, you have a wonderful evening. Thank you again for everything that you do for me, for your support to my Larith business. And I will see you next time. Be blessed, rest well, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.